It all started 6 months ago when my son Mark married Diane. She was charming at first, too charming, the kind of woman who smiled with her lips but never with her eyes. After the wedding, they needed a place to stay while saving up for their own home. I didn't hesitate. I opened my doors. That's what family does, right? Before I continue, if this story is gripping you already, please like this video, leave your comment, and subscribe to Revenge Flame. It really means the world to me, and it helps me keep sharing stories like this one. I still remember the sound of her fists against my door. Bang, bang, bang. Each hit felt like thunder echoing through my chest. Her voice, sharp, furious, entitled, pierced through the quiet morning. "Open this door, Marlene. You can't just lock me out." But I didn't move. I just stood there, behind that new lock, clutching my cup of coffee like it was the only thing keeping me from falling apart. Funny thing is, that house used to be filled with laughter. Sunday dinners, birthday candles, grandkids running around barefoot in the hallway. I built that home brick by brick. After my husband passed, it was the only thing that still felt like mine. And yet, somehow, my sister-in-law, Diane, made me feel like a guest in it. She took over my kitchen, my living room, even told me which furniture didn't fit her taste. I was too polite back then, too soft. Until the day I realized she wasn't just visiting, she was planning to stay. And that's when I did something she never expected. I changed the locks. For the first few weeks, it was fine. But soon, Diane started acting like she owned the place. She rearranged my pantry, because it's more efficient this way. She threw away my old tablecloths. They looked dated. She even told my son that my antique armchair smelled old. I overheard her once, whispering to him in the hallway. "She won't last much longer here, Mark. Once the paperwork is done, this will be our home anyway." My heart froze. Paperwork? Turns out Diane had convinced my son that transferring the house title to his name would secure their future. And my son, my only child, was too blind in love to see the manipulation. That night, I couldn't sleep. I sat on my bed, listening to the faint hum of the refrigerator and thinking about how easily people can turn your kindness into weakness. So I went to the bank. I checked the deed, and I realized I was still the sole owner. That's when I made my plan. Quiet, simple, final. For a week, I pretended to go along with their plans. I listened to Diane talk about remodeling, tearing down walls, painting everything white for resale value. She talked about my home like it was a business deal. Then, one Friday morning, I packed a small bag, called a locksmith, and changed every single lock on that door. When they returned that evening, groceries in hand, the keys didn't fit. I watched from the upstairs window as confusion turned into panic, then fury. Mark looked lost. But Diane, she went wild. She shouted my name. She kicked the door. Then she started banging, over and over again. I didn't open it. Not once. A few minutes later, the shouting stopped. Then came the silence. The kind of silence that says you've won. That night, I left a note under the doormat. It said, "This house is no longer available for you to live in. I wish you both luck finding a place that fits your taste." I turned off the porch light and sat in the dark, watching their car pull away. The next day, I called a real estate agent. 2 weeks later, I sold the house. When Mark called, angry, confused, I told him, "Sometimes, son, you don't realize how much peace costs until you pay for it yourself." And then, for the first time in years, I slept soundly. Maybe it wasn't revenge. Maybe it was just me reclaiming what was mine. Not the house, but my dignity. Because when people mistake your kindness for weakness, it's not cruelty to draw a line. It's survival. And peace? peace is priceless. This story gave you chills? Smash that like button and tell me in the comments. What's the most satisfying revenge you've ever witnessed? And of course, don't forget to subscribe for more powerful stories like this, only on Revenge Flame.